What it is? What's up, y'all? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Good evening, Q.
Right
I
on
was like, I'm
time.
just going to go ahead
Late on time.
and I'm going to run my chat for a few minutes. Oh, my God. It's raining. It's crazy weather. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is Tuesday. What is it? February?
The 7th or 8th, one of them.
Somewhere along those lines. I'm lost for the whole week being shut down. Definitely has me still confused on days. So anyways, it's Tuesday night. You know what that means. It is time for another episode of your favorite live conversation talk show, podcast, whatever you want to call us. So sometimes people are like, "Oh, you have a podcast?" I'm like, I don't even know if technically this was called. We're a show. We are a live conversation, but we're free thinkers. So welcome to the show. I won't take too long to give the instructions on how to find us, where to go. Same directions every single Tuesday. You do have to join the Facebook group page to really stay in the loop. We do have all of our videos posted over on YouTube, but on our Facebook pages where we have all of our information to join the panel, topics, conversations, networking, all that stuff takes place on the Facebook page. So if you're interested in joining the conversation tonight, you'll need to go to the Facebook group page. At the very top, it's pinned. There's a StreamYard link in there. If you're wanting to get onto the show live, then hit that StreamYard link and it'll bring you directly into our conversation. If you're not interested in coming on live, then you can engage in the live chat section. And of course, you can always just watch us. But we appreciate your support. We appreciate you following. We appreciate you subscribing. We appreciate you sharing. We appreciate you getting involved with us. Love when people send us topic suggestions. So we've got our Black Mirror series that we are still doing. So this is second of 4. So all February we're doing Black Mirror. Q's been wanting to do this for a long time. So I'm really glad we're doing this because because when I started watching, and I did actually see today's episode when I started watching the show a while back. This was one of the ones I had seen because I started.
Before.
I did, and even though I knew what it was, I was like, let me rewatch it through a different lens because I know we're going to talk about it tonight. And I don't feel like I had as much talking points as last week's episode, but this was a whole different conversation. So I was like, this is going to be very interesting. So that's what we're doing for the next couple of weeks. So this week, next week, and then the following week, we are just choosing different episodes of Black Mirror, and we're discussing the perspectives and the thoughts behind the actual episode. Not so much like the writing itself or what Black Mirror is, but just what the concept of those episodes are. And just kind of discussing what our thoughts are about those. So hopefully you will join us tonight and tomorrow and tonight, next week, and then the following week. And then who the hell knows what happens in March? There's like 5 seasons of Black Mirror.
Right. I'm trying to narrow it down because it's like more than 4 I want to do, but I'm like, I'm trying to narrow it down to 4. I think I got the 4 that I won't narrow down.
Okay.
Unless someone else has a strong opinion on another one that they want to do, then I'm
well, and this wasn't one of the ones you initially wanted to do. I don't feel like.
So yeah, it's not my top 5, but it is a good one, and I think I heard Denise mention it. So then I was like,
okay.
Then it made me think like, as far as good, I could think of some good talking points for a conversation standpoint.
Right.
So I was like, okay, we can. And it was funny because I wanted to get away from the relationship, I don't want to do another relationship.
Just a nonstop relationship.
This one is kind of a relationship one, just in a different type of way. So I was like,
It is, but it is, and it is relational,
but not in the same type of way, right?
But it was I think we'll have some really good talking points on just some of the futuristic shit, right? And just anyway, so it should be good. So tonight we're doing season 1, episode 3, the entire history of you. That is the episode that we are talking about tonight. So again, adult conversation. Totally up to you who you want to listen to this with you. But we do use adult content. But please share, 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 share. If you want to engage with us in the comment section, please do. Q, we'll have to manage those because I still can't see them on my phone. Sometimes we do and don't get to all of the comments in the comment section, but we always get to them after the show is over. So if you're unable to catch us live, anytime that you catch us and you comment on the Facebook page, we will always continue to engage in conversation with you. You can join anytime you want. You can jump out of here whenever you need to. But if you do jump in a little bit late, just hang tight, pick up the flow, see what we're talking about, and
double Dutch.
basically.
All right, fine.
So let's get started. The history of you, the entire history
before you jump
you.
in. You just can't run straight into the ropes. Catch the rhythm. Catch the opening.
Let
me ask you this first. So the first time you watched it, without going into it, what did you think about it? Like, did you like it? Did you think it was strange? What was like, without actually going into it, what was your thought about this one the first time you watched it?
I thought it was fucked up. Like the first time I was like, this is fucked up.
That's why I was like, and it kept going deeper and deeper. I was like,
yes. And I almost knew, like, you and I don't want to give it away, but like I expected to maybe see some other things happen that didn't happen, thankfully.
Right.
I think the part that turned me off, and this is something that, bothered me about Black Mirror, is the way that the eyes turned white when they would be watching something. Right. That just, something about that fucking bothers my senses. And so I was kind of bothered by that. And the first time I saw it, so the second time, obviously I knew what to expect, but I was like, oh God, that bothers me. It just looks like dead eyes to me. But show wise, concept wise, I was like, this is fucked up. I was like, man.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's start with the story, and then
what about you? What was your thoughts when you first saw it?
Kind of like the first time, I was like, the first 5 minutes, which we're gonna get into, I didn't know where it was going, and then immediately after he got out of the boardroom, I was like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. And I was like, immediately, this is an interesting premise. This is very interesting. And it reminded me, there was a movie done by Robin Williams called Final Cut or something like that. Okay. But Robin Williams did, and this was done maybe 15, 20 years ago. He was a mortician, and in this altered reality, he would, at the end, like as far as they had the recording in your eyes, so you could see everything from the time you was born until the time you died. Mm-hmm. And then so at your funeral, what his job was to do was to cut up everything that that person saw through their eyes, and it basically gives a life story through that person's eyes of what they saw and experienced. So his job was to take 60 years of material and cut it down into an hour and a half and 2 hours, just showing the highlights. So that's the first thing it reminded me of.
I haven't even heard of that movie
because the movie was bad.
I just haven't even heard the name for a Robin Williams movie. I'm surprised. Okay.
The premise was great. The first 30 minutes, I was so interested in it. And then it just took a terrible turn and just really got off a subject. And I was like, oh my God, this could have been so good. And it just turned out, it just fell flat. Whoever did it, they just didn't follow through with it. So this was when I saw this, then it reminded me of that immediately.
Okay. So without going, I guess, into too much detail, because I don't know where you're going to go first. Do you feel, because you mentioned the boardroom, do you feel like any of the conversation that took place in the boardroom was remotely relevant to the episode, or was it just like the opening?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, but such a weird topic.
Yeah, it was a weird way that it started in, but I think it just set the stage of how using this tool was part of everyone's daily life. And that was the first thing that I noticed. So let me get into this and then we'll move into it. So he starts off, the guy's name is Liam Foxwell. It appears that he said he was a lawyer / appraiser. I'm not sure exactly what he was, and I'm not sure exactly what the meeting was for, whether he was trying to get a promotion, whether he was doing an annual review I'm not exactly sure what it was, but I did notice it was, 4 people on one side and he was on the other. So they were doing some type of
Yeah.
critique of him in some
Yeah.
type of way.
Yeah.
Little awkward, but I didn't know exactly what it was. But then you noticed as soon as he left the meeting and went into his cab, the first thing he did was go to his recall and said, let me replay this so I could see everything. And it really showed how with the recall, it wasn't just the recall, it allowed you to see things that you normally couldn't see. You get to zoom in on people's facial expressions. You got to, even though you're engaged with this person, then it also lets you see what was this, out of your peripheral, what was this person doing and how were they responding? How
What
did
you
this,
missed.
what type of notes were they writing at the time that, so it helped you break everything down. And it was just interesting how once he looked back at it, he might have thought something was going a certain way. And then he looked back at it, he was like, yeah, that didn't go well at all.
Yeah, and the parallel to that, of course, it's not the same thing, obviously, but for me, the parallel that I took away as soon as he got in that cab and started rewinding, what took place, I was like, damn, cell phones, like just how quickly, how easily, how automatic it is for us to like immediately jump on a cell phone or go back and like dig through pictures, replay videos. This is the first thing I thought of. Instead of just sitting there chilling and just like getting his mind right, he went straight to replay. And I think there's a lot of danger involved in that, but I'll shut up first.
Exactly. And that's the first thing I was going to say. Now, let's not go further into it, but let me ask you this right here. Just once I saw that and I kind of got a grasp on what it was about, then it made me think, if we had that type of capability and technology, would you find yourself living in the moment, or would you find yourself living more for the recall? Damn. Like, see. So my argument is, it seems like he was ready to look at the recall before he got out the meeting. So then I'm like, if you paid more attention to the meeting and paid attention to detail in real time, maybe you would have had a better interview than what you had.
Could have been more prepared, could have been more rehearsed.
You could have been more attentive to what's going on versus, oh, let me see how this is going, how this went as soon as it's over, versus pay attention right now to what's going on so I can be in the moment.
So this is where divided attention comes into play, right? Because when we have to split our brain amongst multiple sources of information, we can't pay attention to everything 100% of the time. Right. And it almost feels like in that realm, in that world, like you're so automatically fixated on the replay, on the what did I do wrong, on the what did I say,
right,
versus just being in the moment and actually acting authentically and organically and exactly as you normally would. I feel like, and this is just me, I would be living in the now. I would be the girl who pulled the shit out of her ear, like, or had it, you know what I'm saying, like would not opt to put it back in. Like I would, and then we'll talk about that too, because we'll talk about that too, because there's parameters around that. Right. But I would definitely be living for the now as opposed to the replay, the recall moment.
Now, okay, so I'm about to ask another question that I didn't truly think of before, but let me go a little further into the story. So as soon as he gets into the cab, then he's already replaying the interview, kind of looking at how he did and looking at all the things surrounding it. He gets to the airport. Airport security starts requesting immediately, I need to see your last 24 hours of your recalls. And I'm like, oh, that
was literally my second note on my list.
I was like,
the airport thing.
That's a total invasion of privacy, and that is like, okay, so okay, you wrote it down. What are your thoughts? What were your thoughts surrounding that?
I mean, you know how much I hate anything establishment. So like when I saw that, it made me think of another movie I just watched recently where
Minority
Report. What did I watch? I don't remember what the hell it was. No, I don't remember what it was that I just watched, but I just watched something. Huh?
You know the actors that was in it?
No, I'm having an absolute brain fart. I literally remember a scene of the movie. Oh, it was What Happened to Monday.
Okay, I never saw that.
It was, you got to watch that. That's a dope ass movie. But it made me think of that because, essentially that movie was was all about everybody had to have a wristband on, and everywhere you went there was a checkpoint, and everything
Right.
had to check out, every single checkpoint. So that's the first thing I thought of was, okay, well, what are they looking for? Like, if this is just, I mean, if these are just your regular ass everyday
Right.
humans, like what would these, or were they even police? What were these TSA agents, you know, looking for? Because they made them go
Right.
back. What they
Well,
said,
maybe
like,
they were looking like if you were plotting to take over the airplane, like
oh
some
my
type of
God.
terroristic
But
threat or something
you
like
would
that, and
think
then they can
with
look
that
and
much
see.
technology, though, that they would already have that. Like Facebook has the minute that you type something that is not, you know, favorable to the algorithms. You would think that they would have like an instant hit the minute somebody watched something that was, dangerous, I guess, or something like that. But the fact that they had them go back the first time, it was like, I don't know, they had them go back a couple hours or a day or so, and then they wanted to go back like 9 months or
Right.
some shit. So it was like in 64 times speed, and
Yeah.
it was like, what are you doing with all this information? So it goes back to just data. For me, it goes back to data collection, data mining, like what they're actually doing with this information. What kinds of things would have had somebody not be
Yeah.
able to board a plane? I mean, and
Exactly.
it's
So that was gonna be my question to you, Nikki, because you know you're gonna be ready to pull the plug. But what happens if you have to have one of these inserted in order to use commercial transportation?
well, that's just it. You see that this is how difficult they make things for people if you choose to not comply. If you don't
Yep.
comply, you're going to be on the other side of the wall. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't comply, you're going to be living in the woods in a tent somewhere, and life is just going to be absolutely miserable, in comparison to those that comply. So it's the compliance, obey mentality that I personally am okay on the other side of the wall. I'm personally okay living in a tent. Like I am personally
To what
okay with that.
extent, though? To what extent? Now, what if,
I
because their goal is they want to get this information. So what if
well,
once
of
these
course,
electronic cars come out
of
and they self-drive,
course.
and now you have to have that
Don't
just
get
in
me
order to
started.
drive a car?
I won't be driving a vehicle. I won't be driving a vehicle. I refuse to buy an electric vehicle. I do. I've always maintained this position. And then I read I posted a video today on my Facebook, and it was something about some new law had just passed, and it was about the electric cars and so on and so forth. And it was some shit I'll have to go back and revisit. If you're interested, it's on my Facebook page. It's public. The whole purpose of like these electric vehicles is not to save the fucking planet. They don't care about the planet. Like the purpose of electric vehicles is to cease independent travel. You cannot go anywhere that I say you can't go.
Just
You
like
better
money,
go
just like they're
where
getting
I
rid of money.
direct you to go. Do what?
Right. I said just like they're getting rid of money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They
I
want to be
found
able to
another
track
establishment the other
everything
day that
that
was
you do.
cashless. And I was like, what is up with all these cashless businesses?
So, Nikki, I know you don't follow a lot of this. I'm gonna touch this and then jump back into the story. This is where a lot of biblically, where it talks about the mark of the beast. Now, some people think it's an actual sign on your arm. Other people who look at the way things are, some people think it might be a chip in your hand. But whatever it is, it's going to be a way that either you comply or you're going to be stuck out, even to the point of you're not going to be able to purchase food if you
That's
don't
why
have
you have to
certain
know how
things.
to grow food. That's why you have to have seeds. That's why you have to know how to collect water. I mean, we've seen in the movies for 20,
even
30,
that,
40
do
years.
you think it's a coincidence that a lot of places make it illegal for you to grow food in your own backyard? And like some of this stuff is crazy. You
It's
wonder
illegal
why.
to collect rainwater in most states. It's pouring
Right? Is
outside
that
right now,
crazy?
Q.
Right.
Everybody should have buckets in their backyard to be able to collect rainwater, but most states it's illegal to collect fucking rainwater. So no, it's not a coincidence. They
So
have us in this compliance.
yeah.
They've harvested and they've planted the seeds of compliance. And most people, we go back to the vaccine, most people are compliance minded. They just are. They just are because it works for you. But we've given away so much control and so much permission and so much autonomy. We're never going to get it back. And they know this.
on the selfish side of me, it's a part of me, selfish side of me, like, that's why I'm glad that I'll probably be dead or close to dead by the time this stuff really hits into effect.
I
Because
agree.
I'm catching I'm catching the beginning of it, but before this stuff really goes into effect, then I'm pretty much gonna be out of there.
Can you imagine
Okay,
this
so
in the next 30 years? Like really and truly in the next 30 years, we may catch it before we die. Straight up. Like,
oh, I think we're gonna catch the end of it. We're gonna catch we're gonna catch the beginning of it. At our end, we'll
but
catch the
I think we're
beginning of
gonna.
it.
I think that before if we get another 30 years on this in this life, I think we're gonna see some serious fucking changes in the next 30 years to where I don't think that right now we even grasp the concept of what kind of shit is down the pipeline for the next 25, 30 years, let alone our kids as kids. But I'm with you. I hope to be long gone before most of these things take place.
Okay, so now the guy, getting back to the story, the guy gets from the airport, heads back home. Looks like there's some type of party going on, like a get together of several friends or acquaintances, which is a little bit strange because the guy Liam doesn't seem to really know half of these people. So maybe it's just people from her side. That's a group of friends from her past, I'm guessing. And then immediately starts, once he comes into the house, there's already this black guy. I don't remember his name. He has his recall screen up and he's looking at some carpet that's frayed, and he's complaining about how they didn't finish the sides of the carpet right. So immediately it made me believe that this technology has people overly sensitive and overly analytical about everything. It just looks like, that's the thing that controls their life. Everything that's out of place. Now you have the ability to pay attention to detail to the point of nausea. And he's going on and on and on about, some carpet being frayed improperly. And it's like, really? So this is how your conversations
This is what y'all talking about at this party?
thrive. And everything is surrounded by people's recall. So I thought that was interesting.
Well, I mean, just think about how frequently people would jump to the recall. Like the second that there was a question on something that you said or thought or heard, it was like, boom, let me go back really quick and double check. So
and then
it forces you to like not even trust yourself anymore.
Right. So another interesting thing I saw, once he was coming up to the front door, he saw some of the faces of people. He was like, oh, I don't remember. So he went back and found the name of the girl. So then oh yeah, Susan, right? And pretend like he knew her, like he remembered the name. Like, you don't know who that is. So then I also thought about, like, it also cause an inauthenticity and a fakeness about you. Like, how can you just can't be like, oh, I forgot your name. What's your name? So now it's like, I don't know. And maybe that's expected. I don't know.
Think about the cell phone, right? Think about how cell phones have taken over our muscle memory. We remember our phone number, our mom's phone number, our dad's phone number, and like maybe your baby mama phone number, right? Like, but you don't remember anybody's phone number anymore. So maybe because this technology has taken place of your memory banks, essentially, like maybe it makes you not remember little details because you're so used to automatically going back to recall as opposed to your brain requiring you to retain information.
Your brain.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember, like, honestly, if you ask, I don't know my mother's cell phone number. I might know my dad's because it's real simple, but I don't. It's a few digits that I don't know. I talk to my sister all the time. I don't know her cell phone number. I remember anybody's
phone number.
You know what? I barely know my girl's cell phone number. Barely. I think I just I got it, but it's like
you never see the number anymore. You see just the name.
But you know what? I remember my home phone number, like my landline number from home. I knew my cousins. I still remember my grandmother's. Their landline numbers because those I had to remember. I remember those numbers. Anybody's cell phone number I do not know. And that's one, like, you go to jail and like you get one phone call, I don't know nobody, you in trouble. You better remember at least 3 or 4 numbers to where some people who can help you out of jam if you get that one phone call.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No,
so
I know mine. I mean, I know, obviously I don't know mine. I know my dad's, which, serves no purpose now, but I know my dad's number. I know my mom's and my sister's. And then the kid's dad. And it's funny because his phone broke a couple weeks ago and he called me. He calls and I mean, fine, whatever, but he calls and he's like, your number's the only fucking phone number I remember. I was like, damn. I
and I
was
mean
like,
my
well,
closest
you can
friends,
always get
I
a
don't
hold of me. There's no
I
doubt
don't know
about it.
Blue's number. I knew Blue's number and he changed it about 8 years ago and I never
That's
remembered
it.
it.
Yeah, that was too
I got
far
one
into the
other
cell phone
friend,
game.
Brian, who comes on here sometime. He's like me. He's had the same number for about 15 years. I remember his number.
Same. Yeah,
And
I've
that's
never had
about so
any
if
other
you
cell
haven't
phone number
had the
but the one I
same
have.
number for like 15 years, I'm not gonna remember your number.
Yep. And it's funny because one of my girlfriends, she was posted on here earlier. One of my girlfriends, I remember her phone number because we always used to joke back and forth. You better memorize my phone number so that when you go to jail, you know who to
Right,
call.
right.
And now that I can't call my dad, I've got a little backup list. So, but I mean, there's literally maybe 5 or 6 phone numbers that I recall. I don't remember phone numbers anymore. So that made me think about that when you asked that question, because just automatic, our brains aren't even trained to look at numbers the same way anymore,
Right.
or look at phone numbers or retain that information anymore. And I can easily see a technology like this taking over that part of that brain that we've all used for so long, up until the time that mobile devices became, the standard. And as those
Right.
advance, as that technology advances, how many other parts of our brain may we
And
lose?
I'll tell you something else. My spelling has gotten worse because of
Really?
autocorrect. I just type, and then after I see all these little red lines, I just go back and autocorrect. It's like I don't have to exile. As long as I get close enough, autocorrect will catch it, and
Right.
then I can just fix it. But in a
Hmm.
lot of instances, my spelling is is not as good as it used to be.
Okay. Okay. See, I could see that being pretty consistent for people that are younger than us, only because think about how they've changed spelling. They've just changed words. Like you is not YOU. It's like YU or YHU, or
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So like I've seen people who have like gotten so accustomed to spelling incorrectly that
Right.
they don't
But see,
know
there's
how to
certain words,
spell
and
words
I
properly.
work in a professional field, so I'm doing these professional emails and stuff. If I was forced to do the spell checks the way that the way that you like, I would have to check and make sure everything. Then I'd probably spend more time making sure that it was correct and that I knew the spelling properly versus just just going through it
See,
like that.
now my spelling is still on point, but my handwriting has gone to shit. My penmanship,
Oh, yeah.
and I never had like really nice penmanship. And Kasha will tell me all the time, she's like, "You have great handwriting," and I'm like, "I don't think so," but like, it's gone. Like, I'll write stuff, and I always write in cursive because it's fast and it's lazy and it's just a quick way to write. And 9 out of 10 times she'll be like, "I have no idea what the word is." Like I can see certain letters, and so my handwriting has gotten poor, and I absolutely attribute that to we don't write ever
Oh
anymore.
yeah, not
We
at all.
never write anymore. My text thumbs are strong in them up, but like writing a letter, I'm like it almost is. I don't know. It kind of bothers me because I like that old school shit. I come from I come from not being in a heavy convenience society. So just the ability to write a letter or write nicely or have nice penmanship, to not have that anymore because I'm so used to typing and pushing buttons, it kind of sucks.
Right. Okay, so he did I finish my thought with that?
So
Yeah.
was that pretty much your take about the plane interference, the cop interference with him getting on the plane too? Because that's where we stopped at, was just the thoughts about
Yeah,
him
you know what?
having to
Until
show
you
back his
mentioned it, I hadn't
video.
really thought about it. I just thought that was really
Yeah,
intrusive, and I was
yeah,
like, I'm like, oh, that's messed up.
yeah, yeah.
These are my eyes. This is like
Right.
this this technology is allowing people to intrude you. It's intrusive. Like they're stepping into your memories, stepping into your life
And now
in
they've
a
collected
very
that
personal
data.
way.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I was kind of mad that the episode ended when it did. I'm like, no, this should have gone on way longer. Like, I need more information. I need to know what's happened. What are the penalties? What are the violations? What are you not supposed to see? What are you in trouble for seeing?
And this is what I saw. Even so, the first thing with the security, and then so once he gets there, he gets to the party. Then the black guy, once he mentions he just came from this interview, so forth, and then the black guy was like, well, let us see it. We'll critique the interview and tell you how good or how bad it was. And it was just like and I'm like, no.
Right.
Like, the fact that I'm talking about it does not give you the license to actually see everything that's going on. But then everybody like, yeah, let us see. So then it started making me wonder, did this technology just start causing an intrusive type of society where everyone felt entitled to peer into your life? And the fact that they will feel comfortable asking is like, that's weird. I'm like, so then I started wondering, is this the way their society is, or is this, they did seem kind of like an uppity pompous crowd as well. So I was
they were annoying as shit.
This upper class type of, snooty behavior that they are, but it's not everybody. And then further deeper, it made me wonder, was this just a technology for the elites? Did everybody possess this technology? Which that's, something that the story doesn't tell, but it did make me wonder. So then, yeah, they were all like, yeah, let us see it. And I was like, yeah, that would be an issue for me.
Well, so does this technology inadvertently diminish the importance of privacy, of secrecy?
It seemed like it.
Like all of a sudden now everything is just for every damn body. There's no private moments. There's no confidentiality. There's nothing secretive, which, I mean, whatever how you feel, but
this is my question. And I wish I had somebody else on here other than just you, because you you a certain type of way.
Whoever's out there, get your butt on here.
Would you be okay with your friend / or even your spouse wanting to see your previous whereabouts? So every time you went on a weekend trip with your mom or whatever, and they come back and like, oh, okay, let me see.
Oh, to me, that's the equivalent of going through somebody's phone, and I'm just not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not. If that's what I have to do to be in a relationship, we don't need to be together. I'm not being in a relationship. So no, and that's one of the things that I wrote down on my notes was, and we can get into it later. I don't know if it's something that you were kind of get into, but it was it's the analogy of if you keep digging, you will find something, right? And I don't necessarily think he was digging per se, but it's like, are you sure you really want to see all the things that you might be, conjuring up in your mind? Are you able to see some things? Do you have the capacity to maybe see some stuff that you might not really have access to seeing otherwise? Would this technology not be available?
So you think, okay, so you have this technology, say we all have it, and for your sake, say we're born with it, and the reversal procedure costs $100,000 to get it out. Just make it hard for you.
I've got one. Okay.
Would you? Got to give you a scenario that make it hard for you to just pull it out.
It's not optional. You got it.
Instead of snotty on the ear, they put it inside your brain, so you got to kill yourself to pull it out.
It'd be real hard for me to get it out.
Right. Nigga be like, well, shit, I be dead motherfucking. But would you? I forgot what I was about to say. Now I was saying all that. So just as far as okay. So my question is, how private would you be about keeping that to yourself? It's there, you could put it on the screen. Like, would you share to some degree if you're at a party and you were people, oh girl, let me show you this, blah blah blah, this is crazy.
Sure.
So there are certain things that you would be able to share, but it's like, this is my discretion, what I think is okay for me, and the moment you cross that line, I'll be like, nah, I ain't showing you that.
Yeah, because if I can tell you
Or
a
would
story
you be
about
like, I'm
something.
keeping everything to myself? Like
No, if
everything that I
I
see, I keep
no,
to myself.
no, because if I can tell you a story about something, if I can, reenact a situation that took place, if I can show you pictures or video on my cell phone, if I can record videos and post them to my live, I mean, there's obviously things that we're clearly okay sharing with others on a public or on an open, spectrum like that.
Right.
But every single detail, because my partner was so insecure that they needed to hit those replays to be secure with, man, no, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Right.
And I'm not doing no dirt, but I'm not gonna subject myself to that. No. And I don't want to see yours either. I don't.
Right.
I don't.
So guys will be terrible at that, as a matter of fact, because guys start talking, oh yeah, man, it's this and she was this and man, shoot, yeah, she blah blah blah. Dude, let me see. Let me see. Oh, girls will be, you know what? Women to be bad at that too.
No,
oh, women to be bad at that.
Oh,
Girl, he was big.
Yeah.
Let me see. And women ain't gonna have no shame. They're gonna be like, let me see.
They will show you.
And so okay, so that goes into what we're talking about. So Jonah is the other person. Out of the two main characters, Jonah's the third person. We're gonna talk about him a little bit. He's there at the party when Liam walks in. His wife is talking to Jonah. They're having a conversation. She seemed a little bit startled and surprised that he's there because he caught a flight a little bit earlier and was able to make it to the party. She introduces them. They're having dinner. They're having these conversations. Jonah seems somewhat self-absorbed. Seemed like he's he wants to be the alpha in every room. That's what it appears to be. He's the one that's in control of every conversation and the one who wants to dominate the room. That's the vibe I got from him.
But now and you know why, and now you know why.
Flexing. He flexing on the cool. So Jonah started talking about relationships and his relationships, and one thing that he mentioned was that he likes to look back at old relationships and get off on them. Masturbate the old stuff that he's seen. With old relationships. Now,
and how was that any different than recording it on your phone and rewatching it now?
Okay, so let me ask you this. Would you recall some of your old experiences and watch them for those type of purposes like he did?
I don't see. Well, if I was not in a relationship with somebody, maybe. But if I was in a relationship with somebody,
was a good, because you could think about how good of a time it was, and then you might go back and recall it and rub one out. So
in a single situation, I yeah, absolutely. Why would you not, right? You watch porn, you might watch videos on your phone as it is now. So in a single situation, yes. For me as somebody who's in a relationship, no, I think that'd be hella disrespectful. Now that doesn't mean that people won't do it, and that doesn't mean that it's not natural or normal to do it. You feel good. I mean, there's just certain moments where you've had with other partners where you're like, God, when he did this and when she did this, like this shit comes back to mind. Like that's normal and natural, and that's okay. So I'm not saying if a person did do that would be totally inappropriate. For me personally, I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like that.
Okay, so I have a follow-up question to that. If you were in a relationship / marriage, would you force your partner to erase those encounters that they've had with their ex partners?
Force them? No, but I would be really happy if they did. And if they did, I would delete mine too. I would delete mine too. Would you force your wife to delete her past memories of other partners? No.
I'm not that type of person. Well, number one, I wouldn't want it. No, I am one of those people who I draw lines.
Right.
And even in a relationship, if we are together, I believe in a person's individuality. Right. So even on simple technology we have now where they got the phone trackers and they track where I'm not tracking with nobody yet.
No, hell no.
Like all of that. And then the real insecure people make an excuse. Well, I just want to make sure you're safe. And if something happened, I know where to locate. Whatever. Say that if you want to. I don't believe that.
Right,
So, and
right,
that's,
right, right,
that's
right.
what were you doing before this technology? See, because I was around before all this technology
Exactly.
happened.
When we didn't even have phones and
Yeah, so don't
everybody
act
was
like
fine
all of
all
it's
the time.
necessary and all of that. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm not with that, just because I still believe that there's lines that every person, and not just because I don't want to reciprocate it, that ain't even a reason. Number one, I
Right.
think there's certain things that breed jealousy. So
Yep.
there's certain things that you don't want to, there's certain things I don't want to go down, because you're opening the door for your mind to get jealous. I've been a
Mhm.
jealous person once upon a time.
Mhm.
And it's certain things that you don't even want to go down that road. And
Mhm.
furthermore, I think it's just important for even couples to have their own individual space. And there's
Agree.
certain lines that I don't think that I should tell them what they should or shouldn't do.
Agree.
And that's one of those things. So I wouldn't. Now, for the freaks out there, let me ask this question.
Where y'all at? I'm in the comment section now. Where y'all at?
Would this question, now speaking, we still on, all this stuff is saved up, and would you want to see their performance that they've had, if they were willing to share it? Would you want to see some of their previous performances with other people?
Fuck no. 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 The last thing I want to see is my man plugging some chick. No. 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 I already
Okay.
know he's gonna come with some tricks of his own as an adult man, but no, I have no desire to watch him be with some other woman. Let that be y'all moment. I don't need none of that stained in my brain. But while you mentioned that,
Brooklyn said, yeah, she like, yeah, I'm with it.
I mean, that's cool. Everybody at different strokes for different folks. I'm not her. I am not her.
And Heather said, no, not at all. Heather's like, no, I don't want to see that.
It made me think about when they were having sex. You could tell they were.
Oh yeah, hold on.
Totally
I ain't got to that. I ain't got to that yet. I ain't got to that.
Okay.
I ain't got to that yet. Yeah. We're gonna get to that.
Okay.
So hold on, but that's the first part of the question. So number
Heather
one,
said, "Fuck no."
so let me go here. Like, the freak in me, I don't know.
No.
I think I'd be curious. I would be curious. But let me tell you one of the reasons, because number one, I just like looking at sex.
I do too, but not my partner with other people. No, I just no.
And then it could be
not.
like out of, that's what I said, the freak thing. And if it's past tense, then okay, so let me not even go. If I found like an old videotape or something like that, and I turn it off, I'm pretty sure I'd watch.
Oh God! See, that's what we're so different. We're so different there.
I'm thinking about it. I don't think I have a problem with it. I'd be all right.
It ain't got nothing to do with me. Whatever you see in that video.
Hold on. Let me give you the other part for
but I couldn't do it.
Now, this is the other side of why I'd want to. Not number one, could possibly be just for my own pleasure, but number two, I would like to see if they were more involved and more engaged.
See, I don't need that. I don't need that.
And because some people, and not only that, a couple things. Number one, if they're more into it, involved, engaged, then you have to ask yourself, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I not? And then
that's why I'm not doing it. I ain't gonna ask no questions.
This is the other thing. Let me say this. If I see them doing some crazy, freaky stuff that they ain't never did with me, then I'll be like, ooh.
See, I'm not doing myself like that. I ain't
they a bigger freak than I thought they were.
And that goes back to their whole energy shit we talked about last week.
Now, let me say, an insecure person will be like, oh my God, I can't believe he or she was doing all of that. They don't do that with me. But me, I'm like, I would probably be like, oh, okay. This how they really get down. This is what they. So I have questions like, okay, did you like that? Did you enjoy that? Is that something that you want to get into? Like, let me know. Because whatever your freak level is, then I'm open and willing to match it. And even from a relationship standpoint,
that conversation should be taking place anyways. You don't need to see your partner banging somebody else to have that conversation.
You'd be surprised though how some people are just not. They don't have the. Like, so in a lot of instances,
they can do them tricks, they can talk about them tricks. Come on now.
Let me say this though. In a lot of instances, a lot of people were not the initiators. So when they weren't the initiator in the previous relationship, the other person initiated it and then they got into it. Now they're with you. It still seemed kind of wild to them, and they may not know how to present that to you because they've never had to present that before. Like, I want you to do X, Y, Z. Like, they've never said that, so they don't know. They don't even know how to present that question.
Yeah.
So for somebody like me, I'm like, oh, okay. How did that feel? Was you into it? Okay, is that something that you'd like to try again? What else? Tell me what else you got in mind. And that can save a relationship, I dare to say, because now you're able to fulfill a person's fantasies that they didn't feel comfortable articulating to you, and now it was another way that you kind of realized. And maybe and it goes both ways. If they saw me doing, they're like, oh, okay, really? Is that what you like? I see you seem like you was really into that.
See,
like,
I don't have a problem having those conversations right now. So I don't need to see all of that
but
in my brain.
That don't mean that your partner is always going to be comfortable.
I like to feel like my sexual partners are very equally yoked, that we have a great compatible energy. And that's why I'm with very few people, because there's just an appetite that I have. There's an appetite that I prefer that, I prefer to not do that with just everybody. So like, you have to be able to have those conversations.
I'm with Brooklyn. I think it could be useful.
To your point, an insecure versus an insecure person, that is going to fuck you up. An insecure person is going to be so bothered by.
Oh, and that's one of my questions later too. But yeah, I'm with Brooklyn. I think it could be useful. I definitely think it could be useful.
And it can be useful, but no, we finna have to do this another way.
I get it. Anybody who don't,
we can watch porn and investigate those things, but we're not gonna watch porn.
I think I have a level of voyeurism inside of me that I haven't explored.
I do too, just not my fucking partner. No.
So, and that's
day long, but not
and that's what
baby.
I said even in one of my other the singles podcasts that I do. I said some stuff while I'm talking, some stuff it may seem intriguing, and that's what I say. That's as far as I can go. It may seem intriguing, but since I haven't done it or experienced whatever, I don't know. I really don't know. It might seem like a good idea once I'm watching. I'm like, yeah, I wasn't really feeling that.
I changed my mind.
Yeah, and there's some things that seem, and that's why I said even watching porn before. There's certain positions that I've seen, and I'm like, oh, that looks sexy. It looks great. And then when you actually try it, I'm like, yeah, that didn't feel too good.
I wasn't in a gym that long to be able to pull this off.
Right. It's like, yeah, so everything that you're interested in doesn't mean that it's something that you'll actually like, but you do have to give your partner the freedom to be interested at least.
Of course.
And explore if they like it. So okay. So those are some questions that I thought of.
And Liam, however, was not watching it for educational purposes. He wanted to see this woman and he wanted to see this man fuck his wife. And that was just like,
you think so?
I do.
No. I'll get into that in a second, but I don't think so at all. No. I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. But I'm gonna get to that later. I'm gonna pinpoint that. I don't think that was the case.
All right. We come back to.
But we're gonna pinpoint that. Would you want to see it? All right. Okay. So now this was interesting. The lady Helen, who had one taken or stolen out of her, said she doesn't have I think they called it a grain or whatever. She didn't have one. It was gouged. I think they said gouged out by somebody. I guess they were people who would steal them so they can have all your memories and stuff. So what was interesting to me is that she seemed more freer, clear-minded.
I love how they totally did her like that too.
Less self-absorbed than the rest of the people around her. She was like, yeah, once they took it out, I found that I liked not having one in, and I decided I didn't want to have another one put back in. And you could tell she seemed like she was just more free than the rest of them around her. And she seemed like she was, just more taken in the moment than the rest of them around her. So I thought that was an interesting dynamic that they added in there.
which can be totally parallel to so many things today. People who live in the moment versus people who have to have their phone out 24/7, recording every detail, capturing every detail, forgetting most of those details because you're watching it through your phone. You're not watching the concert through your eyes. You're not enjoying the record, by
Oh my
watching a record
God.
spin. Like, there's a filter in between you and whatever it is. So, like,
the most enjoyable times that I had, I don't have much record. Like, I went to California last year. I went to Vegas. I did I may take a picture, I'll take a 15-second video, and then let me turn this off and get into the moment.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit there and walk around with my thing recording all the time. Like, no, I want to take it in.
Yeah.
And I don't need a recording. I remember how I felt sitting on the beach with my son on our birthday and watching my kids play. I could see it right now. The sun beating down on me was one of the best moments I've ever had in my life.
Right.
And I was like, everything is perfect right now.
Right.
And I can see it right now as I'm looking. I don't need any recording to remind me of that.
Right. And I think that's what the downside to, mobile technology certainly is it's replaced it's replaced the ways in which we form memories. It's replaced the ways, or it's done something to the ways in which we receive information, process information, and then store information up here. It's nice to have the pictures and the videos to go back and look. And I'm definitely guilty of being one of those people, especially on vacations or, going places where I take pictures and I record videos. And I love that because I like to have a collection of those memories. Like, I've always been a camera person. I've always been a photo album person. Like,
before there were ever digital cameras, I was the camera. I would actually get the rolls developed, and then when they started having the disposable cameras, I was the one in high school.
Rolls at HEB. I was thinking of like 7-8 rolls at a time.
I'm the one who has all of the pictures from junior high where people were like, you got some more. You need to post some more of those pictures.
Yes.
And back in the day, people were like, oh no, don't take no picture of me. And now they dying to get the pictures now.
Yes.
And I'm the one who paid like $600 to get a camcorder, and I was go around. I still have the little.
Yeah,
little small VH,
I do too.
VHS tapes.
I do too. I got all those things, and I feel like having some moments captured is definitely time capsule element. You like example. Like Round Rock Public Library just built a multi-million fucking dollar, like, I don't know, 3-4 story public library in downtown Round Rock, and it's beautiful and it's amazing, and like, my kids are stoked. We can't wait to go see it. It's a block behind the old Round Rock Public Library, and if you're familiar with the old Round Rock Library, it's just a small building in downtown Round Rock. It was a great place, but driving past it, as we're driving past the new one, you can see in the windows it was fucking just empty shelves, and I was like, think about how many things didn't make it to the new library. Think about how many moments, how many snippets of history, how many historians, by way of books being thrown away or discarded, magazines, microfiche, just all of these things no longer being relevant today, and how many things we lose by losing documentation by way of picture and video. So I absolutely agree with you of the importance of just being in the moment and turning your goddamn phone off and just like having those memories organically. But this technology seems to just take place of everything.
It's a balance to it. You just got to have her. And I think most people are just out of balance.
I agree.
And it's like, why are you so for someone like you or me, we may capture the moment to relive a thought or feeling or an experience that we had, versus some people, they capture in a moment to say, oh, look at me, I got to post this for the gram. Look, look at where I'm at. And it's like, you saying, look at where I'm at, but you're not actually there. Like, you're not there.
Right. You're on your phone. Yeah.
You're there, but you're not even there. And it's one of those things like, make sure that you're there before you try to take a picture or video to tell someone that you were there. Actually be there.
Yeah, you have to be more than just physically present. You have to be mentally present in a situation too. And I think that this technology absolutely removed any actual mental.
It seemed like it.
presentness that, you know, people had, because you could just blank out at any given second. Or,
So this,
and you could question every memory that you do have by going back and rewinding it and making sure, did I remember this the right way?
okay.
Did I see this the
Perfect.
right way?
Perfect. So this is what woman after Helen, the woman who had it removed, taken from her and said she didn't want it back in. Then woman 3 came in and
She was mad
like,
about
I
it.
couldn't do it. Yeah, she was. I'm like,
She was
dang, this
mad
ain't
about
you. What's the
it.
problem? She was like, I couldn't do it. And that's why I said it seemed like she's really addicted to, to the thought that, like, I need to have it. But she did argue also that the human brain is untrustworthy with memories, and it can easily be manipulated as well. Which I did think that was an interesting argument also. And because a lot of times, you know, we can have the tendency to remember things better or worse than they actually were, depending on how we decide to replay it. And that's easily, I can't speak for everybody, but that's why I've been in bad relationships, broke up 3 weeks later, and then got back with the person, because my mind focused on a certain set of memories about how much I missed them and how good they were.
Not the reason I left.
And the moment I got back in, I'm like, Q, why the hell did you get back in this relationship? Oh my God. Like, why would you do you? I was like, why would you do this? Why would you do this?
Yeah.
And it was like, as soon as we got back together, then
I remember
the first little eye roll or this and this, I immediately remembered all the reasons why we broke up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, okay, I learned my lesson. The next time we break up, we are not getting back together, because now I see the whole picture again, and not just the rosy parts of it. So anyway, one of my questions, let me ask one of my questions related to this. Is what is this? Do you think you have any memories that have been romanticized? Like the way you view it now is like, that ain't, if I really think about it, that ain't really how it was. The way
I romanticize a goddamn person who ain't deserve none of it. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely. I definitely, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because as I've gotten older, I've had, I have conversations with myself all day, every day. Like me and me talk more than anybody in this world. And so, like, I've had this conversation with myself before.
Me too. I do too.
Like, in literally questioning, some relationships with certain people, like, are you making some of these like things out in your head because this is the way that you want them to go, and you've forgotten where the reality is versus what romanticizing what it is. And no, I haven't. I just give people too much benefit of the doubt sometimes in certain situations. But no, I definitely would say yes, absolutely, probably have romanticized ideas and memories, possibly.
One thing I see people often romanticize, and a lot of people are guilty of, especially our age. They romanticize, number one, the early hip hop era when it comes to music. They just act like music was so much better, which I do think there's certain elements that are more creative and artistic. But it's romanticized in a way. We had a lot of trash music too out there. Sure. We just all we do is just play the hits and the good stuff now. It was a lot. I still got a lot of them old CDs, and I would go back and listen to them. I'm like, this was garbage. Oh my God, this was terrible. We had a lot of trash out there. And then just the period in time when we're talking so much about the social media age and the digital age. Oh, back in my day, we went to the malls, then we used to actually have fun, and we go out and we call each other and we go pick out matching outfits, and we go to Clicks and get pictures, and we used to go get food together, and everybody that all the people from all the high schools go to the mall, and you get to meet all the people that you didn't know. Then we go to the park and have the block parties, and all of this great stuff. And everybody remembers how great it was. And, we go out and play tetherball and kickball and Foursquare. And we just used to hang out and ride our bikes and do like all the good stuff. And then I'll be like, yeah. But it was also the crack era too.
I mean, it
Y'all
was.
forget about that part?
It was.
Did y'all forget about how much worse gangs were back in the 80s and the early 90s? I'm like,
but
y'all.
there are a lot of people who don't know that life though too, and they
I
only
know, but what
know
I'm
it
saying
through
is
music. They
the
only know it
people
through music.
our age romanticize about it like, oh, everything was just so much better back then. But I'm like, there was a lot of bad stuff back there too. Don't paint
Sure.
the pretty picture. It was some gritty stuff back there too. The projects
And it
wasn't
still
nice.
is. And it still is. It still is. I just think that how we see things today is differently than
Right.
when we were kids. And maybe that's just part of the adult us living in the younger us moment, right? And I mean, if crack wasn't something that affected us, directly, or poverty affected us directly, or other traumas affected us directly, then obviously, like any other thing, you can't sometimes, personalize those if they're not situations that you go with. But shit, that some of them same struggles is happening today. Those same
Right.
issues are they're happening
Right.
today.
And I'm like,
We
some of
just
this stuff is, I mean, just don't act like back then. It was different. There were elements that I wish we would grab back, especially from a social element. But let's not act like everything was everything was good back then. It was
right.
a lot of messed up stuff back then too.
Agree.
I was,
Agree.
that was 94 crime bill time. People getting since 30 years for weed and stuff like. Don't
Just
forget
now
about
getting
that.
out, shit.
Right. Let's not
Mm-hmm.
forget about all of that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people, especially our age, like to romanticize the
Well, and
recent past.
to our defense, we were children during that time too, so our perception of the world was a little bit different than our perception of the world is today. And especially as parents, we've got little ones that we're now responsible for. So
Right.
we see how the flow of information, affects them, based on our experience, of course. But no, I don't think that most people think that it was just all, perfectly
But we
fantastic, wonderful,
present
fun
it
and
to the
games. But
youth as if it was, though.
yeah, yeah.
When we
You
try to
think
make
so? You think
comparisons
so?
about how
Mostly
much
just in
better our
music,
childhood was, we had less, but we had more type of thing. And it's like,
right?
mm, it's give and take.
Yeah, I guess you got to quantify. You got to quantify what's less, what's more, because everybody's perspective is different on that one. But
So, okay, so we're going further down in the story. All right, so after that's over, then they getting ready to head home. And the guy is, so as he's telling his little weird, quirky stories and he's giving these double meanings as he's talking to the whole table, he giving little double meanings.
you talk about
And
Jonah.
Jonah, yes.
Okay,
And then the
okay.
wife is, see, that's you laughing at his little corny jokes and stuff like that. Ain't nobody else.
Dumbass Jones, and that's what got her in trouble. That's what got her caught.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what got
like
her
you show doing a whole lot of he-heing, and
caught.
he also mentioned these are people from the old crew, and yeah, I don't really know this guy, but just people from the old crew. So then he goes back and started asking questions. So then that's when the light bulb kind of comes on. He starts asking more questions, and then as they get ready to leave, then she's like, oh, it's still early. And it's like she was pretty fat. Like, why are you, even if I found out later that she didn't know he was coming, but why are you trying to extend time with your ex being in the presence of your current? Like,
Yep.
if you smart or if you got half a brain, you'd want to get out that situation as quick as possible. All right, yeah, it's fun. It's time to go. Y'all have a good night. Bye.
She definitely doesn't know how to cheat. She has
And
no
she over
idea how
here
to
still,
carry on.
it's still early. So then he kind of like, all right, well, you want to come by? And he's like, oh, we'll get. And he wrong. He just as dumb. Like, why you want to come by? Like it's just stupid all the way around.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I
She
think
gave herself away over and
I think
over.
he was baiting it. I think because she's acting like she still wanted him to hang around. So he kind of just threw it out there. And then when he bit on it, I guess I can hang around for a while. And and this is what I think. I think he was extending that conversation for the purpose of doing a recall as soon as the conversation was over. He's like, I'm just gonna ask some questions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it out there, whatever. And then as soon as I go back, then I'll be able to go back and really dig in and look at the details and facial expressions, all this, and really break down what's going on right now. So I think people have already learned how to use this as a tool, because even some of the stuff he was saying was a little bit not sarcastic, but like kind of, he didn't really mean it, but he was just kind of filling out the situation. And then when he bid on it, he's like, why did you want him to come? She was like, I didn't want him to come. You the one wanted him to come. He's like, I just mentioned it because you seem like you ain't want the night to be over with him. So then he started, and then everything became a recall. Like, yes, you did.
Yep.
Look at this.
Yep. Yep.
So then that's why I was looking like everything. I was like, everything you say will be used against you.
Literally.
And the moment you say, it's like a personal Google. Like, you know, back in the day, barbershops and people would like to talk and argue, especially in sports. And, you know, it cut out a lot of arguments. You know, yeah, because Jordan won the championship in 96. No, Jordan didn't win in 96. He won in 94. No, it was 96. No, it was 94. And nowadays, people just be like, all right, Google.
Yeah.
Nope, you're wrong. Like, the conversations don't last. You can't give your explanation. No, such and such was in this movie and they did it. No, he didn't. He did it. Google. And it's like, we can end this right now. We got information that can give a final say so to it. So even in those type of communications, it's just like, no, I didn't say it. Yes, you did. Replay. Boom. And it's like, so then I might be getting ahead of myself, but let me ask this question now. Do you think relationships could survive with that type of technology?
No. I think that relationships would suck with that type of technology. You would constantly second guess your partner, everything, and then you would require them to prove it.
Yes.
Who wants that dynamic in your relationship? There's no trust required. There's no trust required. You have no foundation other than you're willing to show me what I asked to see when I asked to see it. Like, no. There's obviously times where that technology is good if you have to prove your point like he had to do, but no. Right. Then that goes back to my whole, are you sure you want to see the things that you're looking for? Are you sure you're capable of seeing and receiving this information if this is what you get? No, I don't think that relationships, we already know social media and that the use of a mobile phone has changed how people's relationships are in 2023. So something like this, will people even love each other anymore? Will you love somebody? Can you love somebody that you don't trust? Can you develop love for somebody that you have zero trust or intention to trust? Like, no, that goes back to compliance to me.
And then that takes away from the connection because it's like, this person don't trust me. They don't have to trust me. So it's like there's something that's built when you can have trust with one another. But and this technology doesn't require you to really have trust.
Well, the act of building trust, I mean, just that in itself is something to that in itself is something that keeps relationships solid. You know, this is you don't have to have any trust. You just have to hit the play button. And he said, not on the eyes, I want it on the screen. Like, damn, you want to see all my stuff, you know. Yeah, no, I
this
think
is one thing.
This is horrible for relationships.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm just like, in what ways could it, like, how could the benefits outweigh the downside? And I think every relationship would, even if it starts out well, I think every relationship would turn sour quickly. And even if you make ground rules, all right, well, look, we're not gonna recall on each other this, and that sounds good, but let one person get upset or emotional, and then immediately, no, let me see it. I want to see, or nope, you did. It's like once a person sees red and gets emotional, then it's like, then the bets are all off. That's like when,
and then you can't tell them no, because then if you tell them no, then you're automatically guilty. You must have done something. You must got something to hide if you're not willing to show me. Like, no, that's too much.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, but maybe I just don't want to go down this road. I don't want to get you. I don't want you to be in the habit of just.
Well, and it's like Brooklyn said in the comments earlier. She was like, some things just need to be private. There needs to be secrecy. Like, some things just need to remain yours and nobody else's. And there's nothing wrong with that. Whether you're doing absolute dirt or doing zero dirt at all, you are entitled to your privacy, to holding on to things that you do not want to share with other people, whether it's visually, something that you saw take place that you're not telling somebody about, or something that you heard take place, or something that you participated in. Like, that's still mine. Like, you know how I feel about autonomy, body autonomy. Like, so then you want to hold it over my head if I choose to not disclose information. Like, no. And then you can imagine what that takes, taking that into the next relationship and then the next relationship.
Right.
Man, no.
Oh, now I did
give me a robot.
One thing I just thought of is that it would, or at least should, really clean up the legal system. For those who are innocent, then it should be very easy to prove your innocence.
Right.
That should clear that. I mean, you shouldn't have a whole lot of problems with that. Now, let me say, once they got home, this is something that I noticed, and this is one of the things I thought really could be beneficial. So as soon as they got home, babysitter was there. They immediately went to recall to see how their baby was treated with the babysitter immediately, which I think every person would do. And I think that would be the wonderful part, to be able to do that, because it gives you, that's one area you do need peace of mind. And that's also something that will keep babysitters and childcare people on the up and up. They're not going to do no messed up stuff, knowing that, oh, it's going to be seen and recorded if you do something that's foul or say something that's wrong. So,
I mean, but cute, people are doing that now, being recorded, knowing that they're being recorded doing some shady shit, and that doesn't stop people from doing what they do. Now, you might get caught better and you may be convicted more if you have this technology recording everything, but I almost had a problem with them gumming in the house.
I think it's different knowing that it's a recording somewhere, and it may, the loop may fall underground, or unless somebody has to request it, versus every day when I pick my child up, then I'm going to do a quick recap of everything that happened just to make sure. I think that will make a difference if you know that your every minute will be monitored.
And it's true when it comes to kids, and I'm not arguing your point, but I did have a problem when they walked in the door and she went straight to watching a video of kid. Like, yes, of course you want to make sure that your child is fine, absolutely, but I'm like, and yes, there are terrible babysitters, and there's pedophiles, and there's predators, and all those things out there. Like, all those bad things absolutely happen. I 100% acknowledge that, but it's like.
That's another Black Mirror that's similar to that.
It goes back into that. It just goes back into that obsession with not living in real time. Like, you have a good babysitter. This woman is sleeping in your house. Like, you have a solid individual, but you just don't trust it enough. You have to 100% watch the video to just make sure. So again, do you ever trust people? Is trust something that's
my thing,
in this society now?
When it comes to kids, then I don't have to trust you, and I ain't trying to trust you.
You're right, but they were doing this with every single incident of life that happened. It wasn't just the kid
that they had. It took over. It just took over their life. Now, okay, so once he kept drilling a little bit more, and then she finally admitted to him that she was with him and they had a thing. And you're gonna find this is gonna be a reoccurring theme. She's just gonna keep lying. She lies, and she's an inch liar. She just lie inch by inch by inch.
Right.
Like, okay, yeah, I was with her. Oh, it was just a week. I would
to that exact point. She knows that shit's recorded. She knows it's in there. She knows that she has the ability to get busted if all he wants to do is look. But she still kept lying.
And this was the thing to me. And this is what I had to. It made me think about this. I wondered, did she keep lying just because? She, because men can be stupid sometimes.
And he was kind of soft.
There was some stuff there's a lot of stuff that, see, all men, but everyone, men and women, we're all creatures of habits. Of habit. Women pick up much more quickly when a man changes his habit. And they look like, no, that's not your usual habit.
Right.
And they'll look at it and they look, no, you doing something different.
And
just you wearing cologne all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, don't wear no cologne. This is,
Yep.
I put my earring in for. Oh, why are you
Right.
putting your earring in to go to the gym? Like it's women pay
Yep.
attention to the small
Yep.
stuff that's out
Yep.
of habit or out of
Yep.
character,
Yep. We be
and
noticing.
men generally don't pick up as fast because it's funny. It's funny because the roles are almost reversed when it comes to that. So in like, women, in not all cases, but women are often attributed to more feelings. They have a feeling, they have an intuition, they're going by their,
Mm-hmm.
emotion, gut, intuition, stuff like that. And men are more just rational, analytical. But then when it comes to like the flip side, when I said habits, women are more attentive to the habits and the basic stuff. And men, we go more off of just feeling. So your habits and things can change up like that. But as long as we vibing, as long as we
Mm-hmm.
get along, as long as she's showing me love and everything is cool, we won't pay attention to the small details.
You don't think so? If your woman's
Mm-mm.
gonna doing some shit that she don't normally do, and she now doing that
When
consistently,
a man starts paying attention when a woman's attitude starts to change toward him. That's when
of
men start.
course,
So now when she's like, hold on, you like now you getting short with me all of a sudden, you kind of getting this attitude with me.
right? You
And I
vibe,
ain't even
yeah,
did nothing. I
you
ain't on
funny
no
acting towards me,
I ain't out here tricking or doing nothing. So it ain't like you mad at me for what's going on.
right?
So then that's when we start looking like,
Huh?
something ain't right. And it don't have to do much with your habits. It's how you treat us. If women can really and that's why women do get away with stuff most of the time. The ones who know how to play the game right. And I know you don't go down this road, Nikki, but you might know some people who do. The women who know how to play the game right is the ones, they go out, they do their thing.
Yeah.
But they treat their man, they kiss their man on the forehead, they bring them food home, they
Ooh.
do the stuff, and they just, they know how to give him what he's looking for. And
Yeah.
as long as a man feels
Yeah.
that closeness, he's not going to notice the changes in behavior.
Damn. Damn. So
So
you think that most men would not notice that she's dressing a little different at work, or doing her hair a little differently at work, or updating her wardrobe after so long, at work. Like, as long as she's still did you
insecure men
right.
are more attentive because they're looking for something. They looking for a reason. They always think you up to something even when you ain't. So that's not what I'm talking about. But even like I said, if you're getting cute and getting dressed up more, this and this and that, and see, that's not the issue though. When you become more distant from us,
But that's what I'm
you're not
saying. What if
asking me
she
how
does
my day was.
everything the
When
same?
I
What
ask
if
you how
she
your
treats
day
you
was,
every same, and she treats you the same way? She ain't changed up. She ain't switched up nothing on you. But she changing up some things over here. She works outside the
nah,
home.
we be like,
She
you
got
look
a new
good.
coworker. She got a new boss. Da, 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 da.
We be like you look good, and it's and that's part of it, inclusive and not distant. So when a woman getting did up and looking nice, oh baby, how I look? You like this dress on me? You think so? You're still including us in,
Right,
okay, she trying to, she trying to get herself looking right. She
right,
trying to do this and this.
right,
Now, when she getting pretty all of a sudden and not really speaking to us and not really saying
right.
nothing
Now
before
that's
she
another
leaves,
story.
and then
Yeah.
all right, I gotta go, I gotta be. So then it's like, okay, you not in tune with me. I feel more separation, but yet you trying to get cute. Who you getting cute for is
Right.
obviously not me,
It
because
ain't
you
me.
ain't barely speaking to me.
Right.
What's
I
the
mean,
problem?
yeah, when you see those types of behavior changes, you can't not notice a difference. But I
Yeah,
was thinking of like
but
the best of the
it's the
best.
it's the connection that's our
Right.
trigger before
Right.
it is the
Right.
behavior. Now,
And I
once
think
we
that
notice the
most women,
connection is off,
I don't think that
then
most
it
women are
opens
going to
our
be
eyes to
able
the
to
behavior.
divide that. I don't think most women are going to be able to pull that off. I don't think most women can still give their man 100% and also give another
Those the
man.
real cheaters right there. Those the
But
professional
that's what I'm
cheaters.
saying. I think eventually, inadvertently, that energy is going to. There's a frequency that's going to. You're going to come down a couple frequencies. Your vibration is definitely going to lower
But
somewhere.
it's difference. All cheaters are not created the same. I said this in
True. True.
I
True.
said this
True.
on the
True. True.
21 questions with Denise. All cheaters are not created the same. And some people, like I said, why are you cheating? You can or I think I said all hoeing ain't created the same, but it's why are you doing it? Some people doing it out of lack of security, other people doing it because they're mad at their spouse and they're trying to get back with them. But for those people who really, they just, it's for some people, just like men, it's kind of, they just don't have that monogamous bone in their nature. And for those people, they can do it and still be getting theirs on the side, because in their mind, it's nothing wrong with my man. I love my man.
Right.
But I just, I need this over here too. I need to get my swerve on. I need to do so. For them, they're okay with, rubbing his head, giving him everything you want, tell them that they love him and going out chilling with him, all that stuff like that, and still doing what they do on the side. It's the ones who that emotional, where they feel like I'm not getting everything I need from my man, or he making me mad, or I'm upset, or I'm not happy with my life or the way it's going or the way our relationship is going. That stuff, you can't hide that.
Right.
You can't hide that. And then that's a lot of people. And then that's when men see like, all right, you pulling away from me, but yet you going more. You're trying to get cute.
Right.
You ain't getting cute for me. What's going on?
Right. Right. You are looking for attention elsewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're not, like I said, you're not even looking for my validation.
Yeah.
Versus somebody, how I look? You think this look good on me? You think, and that's, they're keeping you included. That when they look for your validation, then a man like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, you go ahead, babe, with your past self, blah, 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 blah. But that's the difference. Okay. So, okay. So as far as that, let's see, where are we at? Okay. So another thing to observe.
Are we going to go back to them having sex with each other?
Well, we about to get right there.
Okay.
About to get there.
My brain don't remember shit well. So I'm like, oh, don't let me forget.
All right. Oh, okay. Okay. So, okay. So this is the thing. When she finally admitted that they were doing, they had a little fling, and then he said for a week, and then like a week. And then I forgot. He was like, so was it a week or a month? And then she was like, a week or a month. I said the same thing. And just like, he's just like, oh, she said it was just like once. That's what she said at first, or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
It was her week and wherever she went. She went to blah, 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 Miraca, or whatever the fuck it was.
Right.
She said it was for just a week. So but then I think he was like, no, son, for like a month.
Yeah, and then so then she was like, yeah, it was like a month. He was like, you told me a week, and she was like, a week, a month.
No, I didn't. I didn't say that.
And he went back to the recall. Bloop, 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 bloop. And they over here pillow talking, just giving a personal, intimate experiences about their life and things that they did, this and this and that. And then she said a week. He's like, see, I told you he was lying. And then
but that's like, because it was on his mind. He was not gonna let this go. He knew.
This is what I did notice though, because he went back to that memory. It seemed like they were having a good time. And then he said that turned a nice night into a bad memory. Talking about when he went back and recalled it, that was a nice night that they had at the time. And he said that turned a nice night into a bad memory.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, that's one of the reasons that you don't need to be doing that all the time. You're taking when you keep going back looking at stuff, hindsight.
Yeah.
And I think that could be a good lesson. Everything is not meant to be thought. Like hindsight shouldn't be you shouldn't be thinking in hindsight all the time. I don't think that's beneficial.
Letting yourself just live in the moment. Right. Sometimes
and things just are what they are. I should have did this. I should have did. You doing the 20/20 hindsight. Right. Just like this is what I did at the time because that was where my heart and my mind and my actions were at the time. That's what I did. Instead of trying to replay what you should have did, because then that's a part of you constantly living in the past. And it just don't work. And then you also, and I see that in real life, a lot of people take good memories and they turn it into something bad because they're recalling the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
So outside of this, sci-fi technology, just even with your brain, you should watch the way you recall stuff and try to retract your actions and everything that you thought or did all the time. It's okay to evaluate, but you shouldn't always, I should have did this. I should have did this.
Right.
That could be bad too. So
Agree.
So yeah, he went off, and then mind you, he'd been drinking. He was on a drinking binge, and he just kept,
Yeah, he was.
he was getting it in.
He
And he
blacked
messed
out.
around,
I was
and
like, oh shit.
so then he messed around, called her the B word, and then
Yep.
I don't know if they, and as a part of me that thinks that she wasn't going in on him too. She was trying to push back, but I think she was just trying to find ways to get him to stop going down that rabbit hole.
Because she knew he was
Right.
gonna eventually force her to hit the
So I
play
think
button, and
even
she
that's where the
hadn't
sex,
deleted that shit yet.
like if she was real innocent and he was getting accused of all that stuff, would she really gave him some that same night? I don't know. I'm
Right.
thinking like maybe look, I just need you to I need you to
She had
chill
to,
out on
she
all
had to
this
play the
stuff. I'm
part.
with you.
She had to
She
play the
trying to play the
role.
part.
She had
That's
to
my
play the
thought. I
role.
don't know, but that was just my thought.
She had to play the role. And
So
again, they weren't even in it at the same time. They were doing other things while they were
right.
having
So that
sex.
was
So
something that I noticed immediately. They're both having sex to old recall experiences.
yep.
And it's like, and I'm sitting up here like, that is a problem.
Oh my God. And it looked like the most boringest, driest, like they weren't even moving. It was like
That
my thought was like, even if you're watching a previous sexcapade while you're having sex, like wouldn't you be still putting in like real effort? Or is it just like a for
right.
him like a jack off moment? I was like, this is
Right.
so
It seemed
weird.
like they were jacking off together. That's what
Right.
it really
Like
looked
she was
like.
doing her thing and he was doing hers, and
And
they
they
were
just
just
happened to
actually
be
doing it
inside each
together.
other at the time.
Yeah.
They were jacking off inside.
It was
I mean, like
weird. Whatever
that
sex
was
that they were
strange.
envisioning in their mind, it didn't seem pleasurable, nor did their
And
experience with each other.
so now this is when I really start having. I'm like, so all this stuff that you tripping about. Now I'm starting to question, why are you tripping about this, Liam? Like how you gonna trip about some experience that she having with somebody else, and it don't seem like you putting in much of an effort to have a true experience with this person. So if she had and I know you and I think different, but I'm like, now I'm starting to look a little different. Like you lazy sex having person, you not even trying to do anything. So now it's like, if she is trying to get her rocks off somewhere with somebody else because she's actually having an experience with them, yeah, I start to
I mean,
I get that a little bit.
you don't start having sex with somebody else when you're married for no reason. I'm not saying there's a justifiable fucking reason for cheating on your partner. However, you don't usually swerve unless there's, a reason to swerve. But I think for him, I think once the seed was planted, that he questioned their relationship, and then they had a brand new baby. Like, how do you not, as a
Right.
man?
So okay, so yeah, that gets back to we're gonna get to that in just a second, because that's
Okay.
still I still pinpointed what you said earlier.
Okay.
So so then after that's when I start looking at both of y'all. But then I did have I'll wait on that question. But okay, so then they wake up in the morning. He's still been up all night. Oh, that was the other part I was gonna say. So the first part was maybe she thought he was a stupid man, but at the same time, I was like, I think did y'all forget he's a lawyer? Like,
yeah, right,
it is his job to
so he
put the
been
pieces
recalling
together.
and watching, yeah.
And once he sees a
Yeah.
piece, then he gonna keep putting more and more pieces
Yeah.
together until it makes
Yeah.
a story. So I'm like,
Yeah.
you trying to get over on a lawyer. I don't think that's probably wasn't a good idea.
Right.
So then even after the okay, so then wake up in the morning, he's still been up the whole night. He ain't even went to sleep.
That
He
fool
just
was
doing
fixated on videos.
Then he bring the babysitter in here. Let me come here. Let me ask you something. Is this funny? When this dude said it's funny, he over here just still putting it all together. He's acting crazy. So okay, so this is a question that I was gonna say, but let me ask this now, pertaining to the story. Was Liam a person who had suspicion that led him to the truth, or was he just a jerk that happened to stumble upon the truth?
I don't think
because he was kind of a jerk. Like, was it because of he was suspecting something, or was he just a jerk and he just happened, it just led him to
maybe
because I
his
say the first time I
intuition.
watched this, I wasn't expecting it to go where it went. I was like, oh shoot.
I feel like so I feel like Liam is a little soft anyways, right? However, I feel like in his man intuition, which I don't know what that is because I'm not a man, but I know what the women's intuition is, right? Like I feel like there has to be, and maybe the technology has removed this, but I feel like there has to be some intuition in him that maybe just kind of just made him feel like, again, her behavior's different. Her attitude's been different with me. Things have been different with me. She hasn't been bad, but things, maybe he been picked up an attitude or an energy change with her. He came home unexpectedly, but I guess maybe he came home unexpectedly because the job interview didn't last. Woo, woo, woo. He could have stayed, but he came home. I don't think that he thought she was cheating per se, but I think he must have picked something up because he just kept going. He could have been dumb and he could have just played it off. He could have been a goofy ass goofy and just like, oh, he was drinking. But I think that once he honed in on whatever it is that men and women pick up on in each other, he was like, no. I think at that point then he knew. And I think at that point he was then determined to be found right in his suspicion.
So then he goes back and look at some
do you think he knew? Do you think he knew? Or do you think he was totally oblivious until things started to reveal themselves? I mean, you're
you know what? I think it's a little bit of both. I think it was something that led him down there, but I think the way he was digging was out of insecurity more than it was like, I got a feeling something ain't right. And then I think he just had some jerkish tendencies on top of that. Because even him calling her a beast, I'm like, some of it's just immature jerkish stuff at the same time that, because she's trying to hide her hand, but she wasn't being a flat out jerk to him. So it's like, is you being a jerk isn't really the way he was being a jerk wasn't really warranted by her actions.
See, I don't even know if he was really being a jerk as opposed to, bitch, I don't believe you. You lying. Like, you fucking lying. These dots is not adding up. Like, you lying to me.
Maybe,
and as somebody, if your wife is lying to you and it's possibly about an affair, like, I think he has every right to feel some type of way. And I'm not saying calling her a bitch was appropriate by any means, but bitch, you've been lying. You literally been lying and trying to, like, what they say, blow smoke up my skirt. Like, you try to tell him you pissing down my back. You telling me it's raining. Like, he has the right to be irritated with her because he knows something ain't right.
Let's go back. Let's go back. Did you, the first time while you were watching it, did you feel that at the time? Because I thought, it seemed to me at the time that I first watched it, it seemed like he was just being paranoid.
The only part I thought where maybe he was a little bit petty was when he involved the babysitter. I was like, you ain't had to do all that. Because you have the fucking video. Proof,
is it funny? But then, like I said, he was drunk by then. He'd been drinking the whole
night. And that was petty. And that was, that was
now
petty.
Another thing, but
hurt people do petty shit. And drunk people do petty shit.
So let me go back to this technology. When they woke up, since he had just came in, he saw Jonah and her talking. Now the technology read lips and audibly spoke. I was like, oh shoot. It was like, there's nothing that's secret over here. It was reading the lips.
You can't get away with shit.
And then, so after they started the whole dinner party, and they was like, all right, so let's look at some things. And somebody started looking at old stories of their recalls. And he used that, since he was watching it, then he used it that morning and said, oh, see, this is you. Ain't that you in the corner over there kissing that dude? And it's like the digital preciseness has no limits to, if it's on there, then it can come and get in detail. Ain't nothing brain is detail. He's like, oh, is that? Oh, okay, no, that ain't him. But she was still getting it off of somebody. I was like, okay, well, that's okay, whatever. So then she admits that it wasn't just a month; it was like 6 months. So
right.
That's what his lies just keep on trickling.
It changed the third time.
I'm like, dang, you just gonna. Dang, okay. You just Yeesh. All right.
Dig your hole deeper. No,
Right.
we
Kept
all
digging the hole
shit's
deeper.
recorded. So it begs it. I mean, she makes me think of cops, right? Cops will still beat and
Right.
kill you, knowing that they ass is recorded, knowing that it's going to be shown, knowing that people are going to be able to see what actually happened, but yet it's still oblivious to the shutoff switch, or oblivious to I can't do this, or maybe they don't give a fuck. I don't know, but
Right.
she knew he was going to ask. She knew he was going to ask, and that's why she's trying to
I think
delete
she
it.
did. I think she just kept trying to soften it up. Like, man, I wish you get off this subject because he just keep going down it. And she was like, maybe if I give him a little bit more, then he'll drop it. I think that's what she kept thinking. Maybe since he knows this much and he's not gonna leave this alone, let me just give him a little bit more so he'll leave it alone. I just tell him it was just a week, it didn't mean anything. Well, it was a month, a week, or whatever. It was just some old thing, it didn't mean anything. Just let it go. And that's what she kept trying to get to. Okay, it was 6 months. I didn't want to make a big deal out
And
of it. Just let
again, because I think he was soft, maybe she thought he was soft too, and she could just tell him anything and he was going to believe her, or she could just tell him just a little bit enough for maybe what he wanted to hear and he was going to leave it alone. I wonder if I know that she knew he was going to ask, but then I wonder maybe she thought he wouldn't ask and she would just be able to just sweep this under the rug and go back to life like normal. But no, he asked.
Okay, so dang, we at 1:35. All right, we got 10 minutes. We
almost done.
So he goes over to Jonah's house, drunk as all get out. Confronts him, knocks him over the head with a bottle, threatens him, like, I need you to erase all of them memories right now. So he erased the memories.
So I like that Liam. I liked him.
Say that Liam like everybody get back.
I liked him. I support violence though.
So as he erased all the stuff, then he wakes up smashed into a tree because he's drunk.
Yep.
And didn't really remember what. Go ahead.
Pause. Remember that thought, because I wrote this down when he first got into the car drunk. You remember the car said your insurance, your medical insurance, your car insurance is basically fucking waived because you are not allowing us to control you while you're driving drunk. You are allowing you to control you.
Now, I didn't have a problem with that.
No, but the fact that they removed medical insurance and like insurance in general, should something happen, you no longer have coverage. And you know when that happens? I had a client years ago get into a really bad DWI crash. And of course, because they were under the influence of alcohol when the crash happened, it was found to be this person's fault. Their fucking insurance would not cover their personal costs. They had full coverage insurance, but their personal insurance covered the people that they hit, but would not cover the cost of their vehicle because it was an alcohol related offense. And I was like,
is that in the fine print? I guess it would have to be in the fine print.
And I don't remember what insurance company this was or whatever, but there had to obviously be a clause in there that said if you were under the influence, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, that is so wrong.
A lot of those insurance companies
have so wrong. That is so wrong. Oh, that is so wrong. I get the principle of integrity, but we are humans. We're humans.
Right.
And we make mistakes and we break laws and we do dumb shit.
I question the degree of it. See, because then like insurance companies, they're gonna find any way not to pay if they
of course that's what they do.
And then that's one of those things like, is it I had 2 beers and I just happened to get in a wreck even though I wasn't drunk, but the fact that there was alcohol in my system, okay, we don't have to pay you now. It becomes a slippery slope when it's not defined.
Yeah,
that can be. That can be.
I did not like that. I wrote that down on my notes. I was like, "Ooh!" The minute that he got the car drunk, the car was like, you should not be driving. Yeah. But if you're gonna, we're not liable for you at all." I was like, "Damn, that's interesting."
Well, I guess
back to your point. Sorry, back to your point.
No. In a technology situation like that, if the sensor, whatever that sensor was, can detect if you are over the legal limit, whatever that legal limit is, and they're like, yo, it ain't just that you got alcohol in your system, but you're this far over the legal limit. Like, we telling you shouldn't be driving right now because you drunk, not just have alcohol in your system. In that situation, I would be okay with it. Like, the system told you that you sloppy drunk, and he was
Right.
on it. He had been drinking nonstop. So
Yeah.
if it was to that point to where it could decipher whether you were like drunk to the point you shouldn't be driving versus I've had a couple of drinks, I think that if it could decipher between those two, I'd be okay with that. So yeah, he didn't remember what he had actually did, so he had to recall himself to remember what he actually did.
That was a trip. I was like, oh my God, you know how many blackouts would have been great to be able to fucking rewind? Like, what really happened that night?
So after now, he ready for his final case. He can put it all together. He walks in the room.
He's in his final case.
He said,
right.
"Did you use a condom?" She like, he's still on this. And in no time did she ever get appalled by the stuff she was saying that he was saying. So that lets me know, like, she already knows she wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I did this. And then he asked the question. I remember the first time I watched this, I was like, oh my God.
I know. I was like,
he said, is the baby mine? Is Jody or whatever, Joni, whatever? He said, is that mine? I was like,
yep.
Then he went to the picture. He said, I don't like that picture, but I got it for you. And it's and this is the crazy thing about that technology. All you need to do is a half of a glimpse, and it's recorded in there for you to see it. He wasn't even looking at the stuff that he told the guy to, like, directly looking at the stuff he told the guy to erase.
Right.
But on recall, he could go back and see it directly. Yeah. He saw the same picture that was above their bed was the same picture that he was out.
No,
18 months. 18 months ago.
How about when he asked to see?
Okay, so now we are there. We are there to the point that we pinpoint.
Okay.
And so this is why, let me say, this is why I felt that he, at this point, it's not just about I need to watch, because he was asking about, did you wear a condom? And she kept saying I did. And he was like, I gotta know. And at this point, I felt like he was past all, look, you didn't lie, you didn't cheated, you've been screwing this dude.
Yeah.
All of this stuff, that's already fact. So let me get this out the way. I need to know if this baby is mine.
Yeah.
She asked him about the condom. I mean, he asked her about the condom. She was like, yeah. And of course, by this time, you've been on a 24-hour lying spree, so it ain't like I'm listening. Oh, so we don't have any condoms here. Did he bring them? Yeah, he brought them. Yeah, he looked like the guy that bring some condoms.
No, he looks like the kind that
let me see. Okay, he did it in front of you. Okay, let me see him put the condom on before you do it.
Fuck.
And at this point, so the reason I disagree with you about that is because he needs to know right now if this baby is his or not.
Agree.
And he's like, forget all of this. I have to know that I know about this, and I can't take your word for it. And then because hold on, there's one more lie in there, because she was like, oh, I deleted it.
Right, she lied.
And then he was like,
he
said there should be a gap. Show me the gap of the deletion in there.
Yep.
And then she tried to turn around the corner and delete it real quick, and he grabbed
she did. I gotta find it.
You're like, no.
Yep.
So at that point, yeah, he had to. So why do you think? Let's go back to the point now. Why do you think that he shouldn't have watched?
That he shouldn't have botched?
Watched. That's what you were saying originally, like 30 minutes ago when I said hold that.
No, I just couldn't. Like at that point, of course, to his defense, I would have wanted to fucking see it too. You've lied about everything. We have a baby that lines up with the time that you slept with this man. He also said that they had been trying to get pregnant. So, she fucking gets pregnant. Right. They clearly had issues with her getting pregnant. Now she's pregnant. She's got this baby. It could be his. Yeah, I want to see him put it on too. I would. I do not knock him for that. But God, when he said it, I was like, oh my God, this poor man.
Like, yeah, he got to. Look, you got to go all the way.
But Q, he didn't put on no condom.
No,
I don't think. I don't.
No,
he didn't put
no.
on no condom. He didn't put on no. You didn't hear nothing. The conversation didn't take place. Which would explain why it ended up the way that it ended.
Right. So,
but she lied. She even told her, she's like, I made him put it on. Bitch, you just lying.
Yeah, she was just on a lying.
To keep making yourself look good. And it's like.
And you know what? I don't know. I think because of the end result is why she kept lying. Maybe
Because
she
she
wouldn't have
knew.
did right.
Or there was a question of whether it was his baby or
Right.
not.
And she didn't want that
Mhm.
part to come into question. So she was like, I'm gonna lie. And then, all right, let me tell this much of the truth, but I
Yeah.
don't want it to go this far to
Yep.
where that becomes
Yep.
a question. And what she was ultimately trying to protect still end up coming out.
Yep.
Now, see, now this is just me. I know this is not you. But Liam got to take some culpability in this. Number one, if you look at the see, and that's why I went back to the what you want to see. If you look at the way y'all was screwing compared to the way they were screwing,
Right.
you ain't been on your job, sir.
I mean,
You over here in a different world, and that's a problem. You got to take some responsibility for not handling your business. And I'm one of those people. I think everybody, men and women, if you're not handling your business, you got to. I ain't saying it's your fault completely, but you got to take some responsibility to, because I do think you have a responsibility to find ways to please your partner and make sure that you're
100%.
growing in that area. You can't sit there and be pulling away and get further and further away sexually and think that they just gonna live with you for the rest of their life satisfied and complete. Why?
Right.
And I think it's something wrong with you that you want to have this half-ass sex and still want to, like, there should have been questions a long time ago by the time y'all joint masturbating together. I'm like, that don't even make sense to me. And that's first part. And then number two, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I think you got some responsibility in this too. She said, I guess when he was mad about Dan or some situation like that, old boy left for 5 days and did not contact her, did not say anything. You got to take some responsibility for that.
Yes, you do. But that just shows you that just shows you that door been open. Dude been around. They was just waiting for the opportunity to be able to have sex with each other. So what a perfect opportunity. Oh, he ain't here. He ain't calling me. It's been a couple days. Like, yeah, that's some fuck shit. There's no doubt about it.
Would have been great. Waited 4 days, but 3 days, there he go with that jerk stuff again, talking about the difference between 3 and 4. Just little.
But did he lie? Was he lying? No.
I don't care. Why would you? Listen? Why would you leave for 5 days and not contact your spouse?
I mean, you're right. You're right.
You opening that door.
Yeah, that's what
at the time that you left for 5 days and did not contact me, I don't know what you was doing either. You leave the door open for that.
If I'm married and we got a brand new baby, like, and some shit goes ham and my man takes off for 5 days, oh, we gonna have 5 days of motherfucking problems. But nowhere in them 5 days am I gonna be like, oh, new dick, let me jump on this real quick and make me feel better. Like, but that can also go back to,
let me tell you this though. If a woman take off 5 days, don't say nothing, don't contact you, oh, it's a good chance your man gonna get some.
I'm sure it is. I'm
men
sure
don't play like that. Men, where you been?
Sure
you ain't said nothing. You ain't contact. Man, the moment you left,
I'm sure
get about 3 or 4.
That's where you wanted to be. You must have wanted to be over there with somebody else because you was real quick to get in bed with somebody else. Like, that's cool.
That's the thing. Men
that's cool,
and
but
some women,
what is fucking somebody else gonna do for me in my misery other than temporarily make me feel something different? Like, this is not helping my situation at all.
But sometimes you want that temporary feeling.
And you pay for that too.
You do. You absolutely do.
You pay for it. One way or another.
I do. And
one way or another.
No, you do. I agree with that.
But I do agree that was very childish. Like, it's one thing to be like, I need to take a minute and I need to go over here and I need to get some shit figured out. I love you. Well, whatever. I mean, there's a million ways that you can handle situations like that.
Say something.
But
that ain't even acceptable. But still, it's still better. You better say something. Right.
That's how you know. That's how you know he was around, or that's how you know that they have been having conversation enough to where she was like, "Well, hey, I ain't heard from him in 3 days. Come on over and get some." Damn. Okay. Like, y'all still married, so even if he was gone forever, you still have to, like, legally go through a divorce process. Blah 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 blah. There's ways to do things.
See, but that's the compound thing.
Better.
Y'all already having lame sex on top of that. So that make the door just easier to swing open. Like,
then you
and
got to
you
leave your
already not
relationship
pleased, and you
first.
already not pleased with me, and then you gonna take off for 5 days. Okay.
Leave the
I'm gonna
relationship,
feel good for
leave the
myself.
relationship first, and then go do whatever it is that you want to do.
I don't disagree, but that's how
Right.
those are just parts where I said you
Right.
need to take some responsibility, because
Sure.
even if the person can be wrong, you still play a part in that.
Right. I agree.
So there's
I agree.
certain parts I wasn't given. That goes back to he had some jerkish tendencies, and he was immature in a lot of ways, and that's some of the things that happened with that. So
I can see that.
so so then my thought was, even after that, especially after she's sitting up there, he watching her get banged out or whatever.
Oh, God.
So then this was my thought. Even if he stays with her, she's gonna leave him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can't, nobody wants to go through that traumatic of an experience and get dragged down that low and have to look in the face of someone on a day-to-day basis from there on, that they lied to, they cheated on, it ain't their baby, and he visually watched you getting banged out by someone that you brought around, and like all of the lying, deceit, cheating,
In their home.
all of that compiled. Nobody wants to remain in that space, because just now at this point, just seeing your face reminds you of all the lying that you've done. So I'm like,
And
even if he
unless
just
they deleted it, they can replay that shit over and over and over. So it's one thing for it to be a memory that you have to replay,
right,
seeing your man at the bar, hugged up on some chick, or seeing your chick at the movies with some man or some shit, right? Like, it's one thing to see it and them images be stained in your brain forever, or you hear a voice message and so you hear a conversation. It's another when you can replay that shit every time you want
right.
to. Like, you can't get rid of that. So every day she's gonna be like, great, he's watching this dude fuck me today. Or now every time
She
they
got
have
it too.
sex.
She can see it
Huh?
too now because she done watched it again. So,
Exactly. So like, you just can't, it's almost
so
like
now she got she got the other point of view. Like
they were
she got
constantly,
her point of view and his point of view now. She can see it from both sides.
it would have just been a constant, like, painful struggle. Like, they would have been inflicting more pain on each other by staying together, I think, than leaving in that situation, because the access to rewatch things is so readily available. Like,
Right.
at some point, you can maybe put some shit out of your mind and go on with life, and you can rekindle things with a partner where there's been some infidelity. Y'all can go to counseling
Right.
and work on things. And there's so many things you can do to like patch that shit up, that sometimes those memories do become distant memories. But
And
if
that's
you
what
can
I've
replay
heard.
every single time, it
Right.
never goes away. Nope.
I don't know this personally, but I've heard like there's a difference. People have said it's a difference between someone cheating on you versus you catching them in the act. They're like,
Mm.
it's something that's totally different. And one thing
Keep it.
sometimes, and I know this ain't you, Nikki, but sometimes when a person cheats, then that's something that certain people can get over. But I think a lot of
Right.
people, when they catch a person they see it and they catch them in the act, it's more
Now you've
often
seen
that's
it.
something that they can't get over.
And that's why
It's just
I would
different.
have no desire to see my partner having sex with somebody else. I wouldn't want to see my partner and their previous partners. Like, I know it's totally different circumstances, but like, I don't need to see that. I don't. I just, no, God, no.
I would
Because that
look,
is that the
I would
the
look
act of
at
walking
it.
in on your partner engaging with somebody else sexually, intimately, you can never get rid of that. And I'm so grateful that has never fucking happened to me. But like, oh my God, that unfortunately be one of those things that my brain does not let go away. I couldn't be. I would have to leave. I would leave anyways, but I would really have to leave because I can't undo that image, and that will
Right.
forever be my image. What Heather saying, I can't
So
see shit.
catching them in the act, you ain't never gonna unsee that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so ultimately, it seemed like they did a short montage, and it appeared, I don't know, you may have took a different take on this. It seemed like he was using his mind to think of different memories and times of, I don't know if he was using his mind or he was using the recall. He might have been using the recall, but it looked like he was trying to focus on the more happy times or whatever. I think he might have been using that recall still. But ultimately he plucked it out, pulled it out, so it wasn't there no more. I guess he said, I wanted to be done with this. I don't know if, see, and this is the thing, was it, I don't want those specific memories in my head. I don't trust myself. I may keep going back and replaying it. Or did he come to the conclusion that just using this in general is taking away from my life?
I think the second part.
Socially, relationally, just the way that I act and behave and respond, everything is dependent on this. I need to get just do away with all of this.
Well, and so my question was, by removing the grain, that doesn't also remove the memory, that just removes the visual aspect of the recording of things. So you still have to remember these things per se, but there's no way that you can dip back in there and stick your hand in fire and go force feed yourself to relive these memories in a much more sensational way by watching them.
That goes back to what the woman said, who was disagreeing with the other girl. I forgot what her name was, when she was saying I can't do it, and she also talked about how your mind distorts actuality and it turns it into what you want, how the way that you want to remember. And maybe that's what he was like, I don't need this, let me remember things the way that I want to remember them versus so that could have been it.
I wondered, because the girl, when she said she had hers taken out, she was like, my eyes are okay, like my brain's okay, like all these things are okay. I was like, damn. So that's what I'm saying. I hate that it ended.
You think maybe it's propaganda where they tell them that, if you ever try to pull it out,
this is what's gonna happen. Yeah,
you could be paralyzed, you could lose your sight. Yeah, the scare tactics and trying to. And she's like, no,
good point. Because it's all about the scare tactics. Absolutely, I can see that. Left a hell of a scar though, for that little bitty old piece of rice. It left a hell of a scar on that girl's neck. But I would have cut that shit out too. I would have cut it out.
That's it. Did you have any other final thoughts or?
No, that was most of my notes that I wrote on there. Would you? So if it was optional, I mean, you gave me the conditions in which I was born with it. I had no option, right? But if it was optional, would this be something that you would opt for having implanted? Would you get this thing put in your head?
I think I would at this stage of my life, because I feel like I think I could not control it, but I could balance how I use it. There's other times in my life where I think it'll just be too overbearing.
Right.
But just in this phase of my life, and I'll use social media as an example. There's some people that's addicted to social media and they got to take breaks from it, or they can't take a break from it. I'm not one of those. People may think, because even the stuff they see me post, they may think I'm on more. I'm not on social media a lot at all. I think I may accumulate it on an average day. I may I can't 15 minutes tops.
Shut up.
I'm serious. Like the stuff I post, like even when I post, most of the time I don't go back and look at the comments.
You just post and go.
I just post and go.
That's why I tag you when I want to make sure you see something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you gotta tag me, because I think in most times it's not even 15 minutes. I might glance while I'm on the toilet, and usually I'm not even doing that. I'm playing chess.
Right.
But it's like I like at most it may be 15 minutes.
That's a good thing.
In most days it's not even that. Yeah, I'm not that now. I'm more glued to documentaries, and I watch certain podcasts that I like and informational stuff. But social media, because not only that with me, then it's like since I've been doing number one free thinkers and number two like Facebook podcast. I don't even look at, I just look at angles all the time. So even most of the posts that I see, I'm looking at the angle.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, they're trying to get these views up. I see the way they worded this in order to grab more response. You hear me talk about this as fake news, or this is whatever I say about it all the time, even when I respond. And then I have to make myself even respond on Free Thinkers because it's my page and I want to make sure I'm being active in it. But like I literally, and then so sometimes you don't see me say anything, and then I may at the end of the week I may just go back and start commenting on stuff that I haven't because I haven't looked at it all week.
Right. So, no, I can't say the same. I definitely.
So because of that, I am confident that I'm confident right now that I wouldn't abuse the usage of it.
See, I'm definitely on social media far more, and social media has definitely captured my attention far more than it grabs yours. That being said, I would have absolute discipline in not using it harmfully if I had one of those things in my head, but I would definitely not choose for one to be put in. I wouldn't choose it. I wouldn't want it in there, whether I could control it or not, or use it, wisely or not. Maybe that's just the part of me that is just too old brain thinking that is like resisting advancements of technology in this transhuman world that we are in, that I wouldn't want one in. I would definitely be the one that cuts it out, pulls it out for sure.
I'd have to take some thought to it. And then, the other part is it depends on your partner and who you with. If I was with someone who was intrusive and I felt like I was going to be pressured to have to show them stuff, I'm like, nah, I ain't even doing it. Forget it. But I'm not under that type of, like, if that was the case, I'd get it pulled out immediately. Like, nah, we taking this out. I don't need you.
But you would stay with the person? So you would pull it out versus leave the person?
Yeah. Like I said, it's not something that I would feel like I needed, and I feel like I could. Well, you know what? Once I put it in, it might be harder to take out, and not just because of the pain
because now you have the technology.
It's just I am a person. I don't throw away pictures. I don't dispose of that. That's like, it's history. It's pieces of history to me. And whether it means something to me now or 20 years from now, or it may mean something to someone else. Like, even if it's a random picture, like music and pictures, I don't throw them away. Even if I found a picture on the street, it may be like somewhere in one of my, I don't throw pictures away.
I agree. And like, it literally makes me sad when I hear people have like dumped family pictures because nobody wanted them. I'm like, how does nobody want them? I'm like, oh my God. Like, when my dad passed and, my mom was going through different photo albums and she was like, well, you can take all of your dad's stuff. I mean, they kept some things. My parents been together since high school, but like, again, it goes back to what we said at the very beginning. Like, I'm a time capsule historian, loving kind of vintage person. So like,
say I moved into a new house or something like that, and then I found, like, in an attic or somewhere, it's a bunch of, I could not throw those pictures away.
No, I try to find those people.
I would try to find the people, and they would stay with me as long as until someone who was related could claim those pictures.
I agree.
I cannot throw pictures away.
I agree. I'm the same way. And I will definitely say that having access to photographs jars my memory, and a lot of things that I've absolutely forgotten took place. And then I see a video, or like even something as simple as Facebook memories popping up from 8, 10, 11 years ago. I'm like, oh shit. And it's cool because, like, a lot of times if I, come up on a Facebook memory of things that my kids said when they were like 2 and 3 years old, I'll screenshot it and I'll send it to them, and they're just like, oh my God, I can't believe I said this, or look at me doing this. And, part of me, like, I definitely tell my kids all the time, like, I'm probably going to have Alzheimer's when I get older. Like, just the way my brain and my speech and just my memory, like, I don't remember a lot of things. I will remember them once you tell me. The memories will come back and I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember this happening. But like, if you just expect me to remember some shit, sometimes I don't. And so being able to go back and look at some of those brings back those memories immediately. Like, I can remember what happened. I can smell things. I can taste things. Like, it's very vivid. It's very vivid.
I have the equivalent of a diary that I write in on a daily basis. And some of it, and what I just say my timeline or whatever, and some of it, like, so I'm looking at every job that I've ever worked from the time I was 15 up until now. Like some of that stuff, I've worked at a lot. It looked like I got like over 30 jobs. And some of that stuff you forget. And then once I start going down the line, like, oh shoot, I forgot I worked there. And then once I remember it, then it gives me the memories of all the things that stand out to me while I was there. And then once I do that, then I start going, oh yeah, that was in 2004. And then I start writing timelines about the people I remember there and the experience and what I was going through and where I was in my life and all of that. I got every car that I've ever driven. I got like a snapshot of every car that I've ever had, every apartment that I've ever lived in, all of the stuff. And then I just break it down by years.
Do you think that our relationship to social media, and not just social media, but our relationship to social media and mobile apps and mobile device, cellular device, do you think our relationship with that has interfered with our brain's ability to remember and retain memories? Because I feel like we're kind of like the last era of old school people, right? Like there's just some shit that will never
we remember what it was like when those things didn't exist.
So do you think that having so much technology advancements almost makes our brains not retain this stuff the same way that like our grandparents or our parents, retain information? I mean, because you think about some grandparents, they can run through hours worth of historical shit happening. And it's like, y'all's brains were full of so much because all you had was reading and writing. We have access to way more shit today because of the internet, but it seems like we might not retain it as much. And I know our attention spans have changed and those are all by design, but I just wonder if technology has affected our ability to retain information in a negative versus prior to technology.
So at the stage that we are in now, I think at our ages and stages, we should have a good, vivid memory. And I think technology has messed us up when it comes to that. But I also think there's going to come an age where you will start to forget a lot of things. Like when you live in life, it's so much like my 2005 to 2012 is just all jumbled up. It's like all... I can't tell you what happened at what time. So then that's when I start writing out stuff. This is, I was here, I lived here. This is where I was at. This is what I was working. This is what I was doing. This is what I was thinking. And I'm looking like at my timeline. I'm looking 2015. That's when I just started working at Invenio. This is my stepson graduated from Manor. I moved to this place. And I just start writing all of it down. Not only the facts things, but certain things that I was thinking, because there will come a time, the stuff that's more vivid, the more it jumbles up more together. So everything that I could think of, I just start writing it down so that I don't have to remember it. The memory is written, and when I see it again, then it will reignite that memory in my brain. So that's what I tell people to do. And it's actually it's fun to do that kind of.
Well, writing engages different parts of your brain anyways.
Right.
I can type all day long, but writing just does something different. The way that your brain processes the information and stores the information is different when it's written.
Yeah. So I thought we were only going to go about an hour and we ended up going 2. I thought this was going to be a shorter conversation, but
I said I didn't even have as many points as we did the last one. The last one I had 4 goddamn
I was
pages.
Thinking, I don't think this is going to go as long, but no, it did.
Do you have an idea for what you want to do next?
So I'm debating between three episodes, and anybody throw it out there what you want. So one of them that I want to do is San Junipero. Another one that I want to do is Nosedive.
That's right.
And
I think I wanted to do that one for sure. Denise was talking about that last week.
What's the other one that I said? There's another one that I said I wanted to do, and I can't remember which one it is at the time. But I'm debating between those 2 and another one. I'm trying to think of which one it is.
Okay.
But if you have any ideas out there, guys, if you have any ideas, let us know. And not only because those are not even my favorite ones. It's not about my favorite ones. It's about
They're
what
just
I
good
think
talking points.
good talking points,
Yeah.
what has a lot of dialogue in there, because there's some of them like I think it's either White Christmas or White Noise. That's, oh my God, that one is that might be my favorite. That's definitely in my top 3.
Okay.
There's another Hang the DJ is in my top 3 too, so we did that one.
Yeah, I like that.
Nosedive, that's in my top 5. Definitely, I like that one. But then there's another one. Well, San Junipero is one of my favorites. Oh, that's the other one. That's the one I'd see. That's why I forget, because I hate it. But it'll be really interesting. It's called Striking Vipers.
Striking Vipers. Okay.
I watched it one time and I have not watched it again because I absolutely hate it. But it makes for such good talking points that I think that might be one of the ones we do.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna have to do that again.
Okay.
So. But then I got to figure out which one we're not gonna do though. See, so then I'm thinking, San Junipero, that might be one of my absolute favorites, but I had to think about what our talking points would be.
I'll have to watch that one just regardless.
And that one, see, we kind of discussed it when we talked about the God and the afterlife a few weeks ago. We touched on a lot of those talking points. So
that's what San Junipero's about.
To some, but it's weird though. It's kind of the way Smack talk about, think God is a machine, and we just and it's really the way that I think about it in a lot of ways. But I think we may have covered certain elements of it.
Okay. Well, I'll
watch it, but I don't know.
I'll watch it.
I don't know if we
I'll watch it regardless.
But I think we're gonna have to do Striking. We got to do Nosedive, and we might do Striking Vipers.
God. Okay. All right. Nosedive.
Have you seen Striking Vipers?
I'm gonna watch San Junipero and Nosedive regardless. So.
Have you seen Striking Vipers?
I don't. I only watched maybe the first 2 seasons.
Oh, okay.
And second was real sketchy. So I don't know.
Season, and once you watch it,
I haven't got that far.
You're gonna know why I hate it so much once you see it.
I'm gonna watch it tonight. I'll watch that one tonight.
It's such a mind deaf. It's a mind deaf.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna watch it tonight. Before we close up though, I know we don't do like big shout outs or whatever on here too often, but we've been missing Stokely for the last couple of weeks, and his mother just recently passed away. So I wanted to definitely send our love and our condolences to him and his family. He's a big part of the Freethinkers family here. And last week I was like, okay, it's been a couple weeks now. Like, I hope he's okay. And then, saw the message that his mom had passed, and I was like, damn. So I, one, feel bad for not reaching out sooner, because I certainly thought about it and I didn't. So that's my bad. But just wanted to make sure that we send condolences and just let you know that, we're sorry and we're here for you. And we hope to see you back around here whenever your spirit tells you to come back in here and have some conversation with us. So just wanted to send that out because, I've been there and that's a crummy place.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But on that note, didn't necessarily mean to turn the whole thing absolutely sad.
Good.
Just keep sharing the page, give us your suggestions. We'll be back for, an open topic and dialogues come March. So the rest of February, the next 2 Tuesdays, we're going to continue doing our Black Mirror series. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Definitely join the Facebook page. That's where all the information can be found. Our networking, we've got some great posts and some great stories on there. Like, I actually can't wait to do a pick a post the next time that we get to
that'd be good.
Open door. Share. And if you got any topic ideas, please send them to us. And we'll see you next Tuesday, hopefully. Good night, everybody.
Good night.